Come with me now on another adventure. No need to worry, I'll be your mentor. Before we get going on this wonderful trip, gotta stop at the Roost and you better leave a tip. Say hello to my friends at the bar. When you come to this place, they know who you are. Pouring some shots, meet a new friend. Just when you thought that this was
Hey everyone, look at, I'm holding up some Atari games that were on Intellivision. What?
Crazy.
Wacky. Welcome to Astro Smash Mondays. As always, we got Papa Pete and from Go Game Go.
Did you say Astro Smash Mondays?
Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness. How do I get you as full?
Hit the three buttons next to me.
Three dots, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 3 dots.
Wait. Oh, I see. Solo layout?
That's it. Bingo.
There it is. And
Beautiful.
Look at that beautiful shirt, available nowhere.
And you know what I like best about that, Chuck?
What's that?
That one's got sleeves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. How'd that get through? I don't know.
That
Must have been a defect. They made some with sleeves.
That would have been awesome if I would just cut them off right before the show.
That's so funny. What's up, chat?
Hey, Christopher.
Oh my goodness. And after this, I'm down to 4, but this is icy cold and I cannot wait. Ooh, just sprayed my headphones. Nikki, sleeve defect. Yeah, it must be. I mean, I try to ship them all with the no sleeves. Sometimes the sleeves accidentally get caught on something, they get reattached.
I just added my own, Chuck.
It came without sleeves, and you put them on, right, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Assembly required sometimes, I think, is what happens. Hey guys, let's get smashed. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. So my thing I wanted to call attention to. No, not really call attention to, but I was talking about a few different things. First was Atari games that were on the Intellivision. Now I don't have them all, but I pulled a few. So we got your Centipede, which I thought was, to be honest, the version of the 2600 I played a lot more. The Intellivision version looked great. It was just I think the I don't know if it was the aspect ratio of the Centipede itself that just looked a little too oblong. So I actually did like the Atari version a little bit better. I don't know if it's because of how whoever manufactured it, they didn't want it to look good. You know how that used to be back in the day. But I don't know. What did you think about that, Pete?
Well, that's one of the ones that I did not play at all when I was a kid. Had never looked at it, and I thought that I'm going to grab it because obviously when I'm doing the 125, I didn't want to do all my games that I loved the most the first. I didn't want to do all the ones that I was most familiar with first. So I did a Centipede back episode 9, so like a year ago.
Oh.
And I kind of liked it. I played the Centipede on the Atari 2600 quite a bit as well. And I understand what you're saying. It's like it's broader.
Yeah, and it's almost like even the Centipede's like more of oval pieces instead of the round. You know, I don't know what it was. I liked it. It played well. I don't know. Just looked a little different.
It is different. It's like, but that's the limitations of the Intellivision system, I think, as well, right? That's just the way it's designed.
Right.
Whereas, originally the arcade game was one of the ones that was sort of vertical, right?
Yeah, that was a vertical game.
But it would have been higher than it was wide.
Yes, right. Yes. So that would have made a lot more sense on that.
Yeah. But
they did have the mushrooms. I'll say that the mushrooms were more visible as a mushroom instead of a block like it was on the 2600.
Yeah.
But it's their game, and maybe that's why I liked it. It was an Atari game, an Atari system, Another one was Defender. I I don't know. This was not a bad version. And I have I have Stargate, the stand-up arcade. But
Right.
I mean, same thing, you know. But I thought Defender was okay. Once again, I kind of grew up playing it first on Atari and then in the arcade, so I don't think it was. I think it was okay.
What about the controls? I would think that Intellivision controls for Centipede.
I don't think they have overlays in here, did they?
No overlays, no.
For Atari Soft? Okay, so I don't even know what you had, because you had on Defender, you had hyperspace, you had thrust, forward and back, forward and reverse. On
Defender, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, because Stargate had Smart Bomb, right? I think it was Smart. One had a Smart Bomb and one had the hyperspace.
You know, I don't know Defender for the Intellivision well enough yet.
And I played it a while back, and let's see if we can find some stuff out. But oh man, look at the what a weird cartridge.
Yeah,
has the Intellivision thing up on the top there. I don't think I've opened this up since I had it. I bought this a long time ago, and then resold it, you know, years ago.
Yeah.
Wow, kind of a big fold out instead of a manual. That's wow. Look at that. That tells you how to play right there.
Yes, sir. Nice. Wow.
I mean, is there even a regular instruction manual? I guess not. I guess you just kind of learn what the I didn't see anything with. Hey, maybe I can send my Atari warranty though in.
You should send that in, because you never know what they're going to send you back, right? Maybe they'll send you Atari VCS.
That would be cool. Yeah, it just has the story. I've never. There literally is no. Oh no! I'm sorry. Here it goes. So press the disc to begin. Use the disc to thrust Defender up, down, right, and left through space. Okay, so basically your thrust and your direction is all built into the disc, because that's three buttons right there. Yep. Well, and, you know, control. The action key, which means the side button. Either action key to fire missiles at aliens. Oh, wow, this is weird. And the lower or the top action key to detonate a smart bomb. The lower one is to fire missiles. So then what's hyperspace?
They don't even mention it in the manual?
No. Helpful hints? That's kind of weird.
Was it taken out of the game, you think?
It's like I don't see anything that says like hyperspace. Maybe it's under helpful hints. You'd think it would say that. Enjoy the landers, but don't shoot your humanoid.
You'd think it would.
Fly low. Most good Defender players seldom fly more than 2 inches above the planet. I doubt that. Use it just to thrust. Yeah. I don't see a hyperspace at all in there. And I know Defender had hyperspace. Huh.
I don't remember hyperspace in the Atari game. It was just the smart bombs, and you used to have to go down in behind the keys. Then your button would be but there was no hyperspace per se. And I don't know the arcade. I hadn't played it enough. Matter of fact, I played it fairly recently within the last couple of years. But
I got the Stargate out here. I could run out and check and see if it. Let me. You know what? I will. I'll check and see if it has either smart bomb or hyperspace.
Is it all
one or the others?
Okay.
Let me check right behind the wall here.
All right, Pete. It's all us now.
I guess so. We're taking over.
We gonna talk wrestling?
We could talk wrestling, or we could talk about tomorrow night. If anybody's out there, right now while I have a second. Tomorrow night on my channel at 8 o'clock.
All right, that control panel has both hyperspace and smart bomb.
There you go.
Wow.
So I guess I'd have to check for Defender itself.
Well, why don't I do a web search here?
That's right. We're in front of computers, aren't we?
Only knows a way to find out.
How the heck do I get this back in? Oh, it goes sideways. That's weird.
But the Atari went all out on their packaging, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
One color with the name on it.
Really weird. Yeah. Not even a screenshot on the back. Just some little cartoons. I mean, it's kind of cool looking.
Oh, the back's cool.
Yeah.
The answer is the arcade version of Defender. Yes, it does.
It has. That's what I thought. Because there's even a Beastie Boys lyric that says, "I'll beat you in Defender when I use hyperspace." And I was like, I know that. I always went back to that from like 1989, an old lyric.
There you go. I know the first time I tried to play it, of course, playing the Atari 2600 version as a kid, I got so I could just play that like crazy. And then I tried to play the arcade one down there a couple years ago, not having played it very much. And there's no joystick; it's all button.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I was totally friggin' flabbergasted. I had a hard time with it.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now we got another Atari game. Well, actually, this would not have originally been an Atari game. It would be by Bally Midway, but this was a way better version, and that is Pac-Man.
Yep.
And this Pac-Man was fantastic for its time. You know,
yep.
I mean, they obviously another game that's supposed to be vertical, which they ended up going long ways with instead, or horizontal. But yeah, that came out really good. Played almost just like the arcade. They actually used this. I believe they based the program off of this for the Ms. Pac-Man homebrew that I have, and which it's fantastic, and as they should have, and they do it to where they actually the screens do stay pretty true to the arcade on the homebrew. But yeah, if you remember, the Atari Pac-Man was just, oh my goodness, it was like you had the square vitamin, and it was like. And he didn't even move, like he kept going like this. He stayed one direction, right? It was just so odd.
Did the Intellivision one have dots or lines like Atari?
It had of course. Hey, it looked just like that. I'm just kidding. It had dots, I believe, or maybe if it was, it might have had little lines. I can't remember. I thought it was dots though. I haven't played it in a bit.
I think it's funny that the front of that looks just like the Atari front, where he's eating a power pellet and it's basically like a rectangle.
Now, do you have both versions of Pac-Man there, Chuck?
No, I have just the Intellivision version. I don't have this isn't the Atari Soft, I don't think, right?
Very strange, that the Atari Soft put one out with the original 125, and then that was re-released later anyway, after Atari Soft was gone. And
so there's kind of the, hold on, let me. This, wow, that is terrible to look at, but it looks really. They did use dots. That's what I was really trying to say. You can't really see, but
wow, that looks amazing compared to the Atari version.
Oh, the Atari, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, well, this is the homebrew. But the original. Okay. But to be honest, other than the changing mazes, it was just blue, but it looked the same for when the original Pac-Man came out. That's what this one looks like, pretty much. This is just a little more enhanced on this homebrew, but yeah, I thought it was like, I remember seeing it in a catalog because it's like coming soon. Even my dad's like, "Oh, we're getting Pac-Man when it comes out," but it took forever to come out.
It was late, very late.
I went to the store to get Pac-Man for the 2600 with my dad, and I saw it. They had it on TV, like as a demo.
Yeah,
and I was like, "This isn't Pac-Man." It's like, I don't know what this is, but I said, "I don't want this." We just left.
So you didn't get it?
I never got it. It looked terrible. I was like, "This isn't Pac-Man."
Everybody thought the same. Everybody, I mean, most people had it, but they did think the same.
I guess I had the advantage of seeing it on a TV. Hey. I walked in, I was like, ew.
Bachelor Night.
You see this. There's a good screen cap.
Oh, here we go.
Of Pac-Man. That's what it looks like. No top or bottom, and that looks like it'll scroll. Oh, what text? Oh, there we go.
And that's the original Intellivision.
Yeah, it's the original Intellivision version. It looks like it's open at the bottom, like it would scroll or something, but it doesn't.
It doesn't.
There's just no wall at the top or bottom.
But, can you scroll left and right where those openings are?
You can win in one side, out the other.
Yeah, that's the the side doors. So it played pretty much like the arcade. I mean, other than graphics weren't exact, but
it had a lot less dots than the arcade version.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same number of power pellets, and it plays quite smoothly.
Yeah,
Very smoothly, frankly.
I
Much
agree.
different than the Atari one, like where the clunky and the sound effects are much better as well.
Yeah, the bloop, bloop, and it had the little eyes, even had like the little square eyes, right?
Yeah,
that would actually, after you ate a ghost, they'd go around the maze and go back to the home. Where I think everything was so flickery on the
Atari.
On the Atari, it was just
it was a mess.
Yeah, it was just weird.
It was like
effing hats and shirts, Astro smashed.
It's all over the place.
It's everywhere. Defender was good. Yeah, I have Stargate as the arcade just because it's like the sequel, and it just hadn't. It was just it was a better game. Did they have Stargate on the 2600? I don't even know.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they did not try at all. I agree, JD.
The guy who the programmer for that, he made a killing. I believe he made either several $100,000 or $1 million or $2 million off that game.
Off the Pac-Man?
Because they had just started a bonus program, and it sold like crazy. And their sales were based off, or their bonus was based off of sales. So that guy made a killing. And a lot of people at Atari at the time were very upset with this because they're like, why did he get Pac-Man? Why didn't I get Pac-Man?
Right.
Because it was basically just, you were going to get a ton of money just by.
You knew you were, no matter what it was,
Yeah.
At least something. Imagine the amount he could have got if it was better.
Oh,
I want NTV Defender, but settling for Nova Blast at the moment. Yeah, I have NTV Defender. It's okay. It's not bad. This is a good one. Dig Dug on Intellivision.
Yeah.
Actually a very true port. It really is it's not bad at all, actually. It's kind of fun. I think Atari always they just had everything was a little more plain. It just wasn't as detailed, more solids, not a lot of you didn't see the little specks in the sand a lot, I don't think. Perfect example, like the Burger Time on Atari is really bland. Donkey Kong, oh my goodness. Remember Donkey Kong? But once again, you got to think though. I think that was a lot more Nintendo, or was that? I'm sorry, Coleco, because they were the ones putting that on. I think they were kind of trying to make their version the better version. Papa Pete's Palace of Games. Now the next one I really wanted to get into was a lot of the Activision games. Now I love the sticker on this sale, $2.99. Stampede, really fun game. Now, was this also on Atari? Because I don't. Okay.
It was.
Yeah, I had it. I got the patch. I always thought Stampede was extremely difficult. I don't know. I had a hard time with that game.
Now, this one, it's showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 horses on the screen at the same time. And I'm taking Atari didn't have as many. Wasn't it like 2 or something like that?
No, they had more. I'm pretty sure.
Did they? Okay, then I could be wrong. And that's like a lot of these ones. Now, this is one I'm not sure if it was on there, but this is one of my favorite Activision games.
Yeah,
the Dreadnought Factor.
Strictly Intellivision, but it was also released. For what is it? The
Aquarius.
Yeah,
the Mattel computer.
Yeah, there's one other computer system it was released for though as well.
Cool shooter.
Or 5200.
Yes, you're right.
5200 is what it was released for, but not the 26.
Donkey Kong might be just kind of expecting donkeys. There was, I don't know if you ever heard this, and this was, I obviously I know it ain't true now, is they said if you got like the super high score that an animated donkey would walk across the screen, and that's why it was called that. And I believed that for years as a kid in the 80s. And then I realize now, even like built, redoing arcades and stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's not a thing. But it made you always like wonder, ooh, could I get something to appear on the screen or something to do?
I was just checking out a video on Stampede, and I counted 9 horses at one point.
Oh, 9 horses. Okay.
At
So
least
Mike
9.
wants to know about.
It
Good.
varied quite a bit.
Mike wants to know about combat. Well, I used to like combat. I played that on the Atari 2600. It was never on Intellivision. That was an Atari. Intellivision had one called Triple Action, which had their tanks and their biplanes. And oh my, yeah. How many copies of Combat do you have? We all owned at least 20 of them. I used to have the same. It's probably that's the good one there with the label, with the color label. Which one do I have?
Pete, you should sign those and just send them out to people.
Yeah, there you go.
I did a video one time where it was a Rebel Gaming Club review video that I didn't like the game, and I destroyed it with not an axe, but with a maul. So shortly thereafter, I went out and got a whole bunch of copies of Combat in case I ever wanted to do it again.
Yeah, those are definitely ones you could like put whatever label you want and pretend like you're just like you could use the shells. There's probably about a zillion of these.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh my donkey information.
You hit one of those things with a maul just right, you have a hard time finding the parts.
Well, speaking of this, Pitfall and River Raid, I'm glad you brought this up because I have a little comparison thing I was going to play. So now what I'm going to play is, and it's not just to, I'm not trying to I liked both. I liked Atari too. Although once I got my Intellivision, I did gawk that I had the better graphics and the better system to my cousins. So we, it was the console wars. What are you going to say? The original one. And we get into ACTIVISION games on Intellivision, and that's what we were just talking about. Stampede, Dreadnought Factor, Happy Trails, which we had Locomotion, but Happy Trails. Look, you could save $5. Why didn't I ever trade that? I could save $5 if I buy Stampede. That's a beautiful Happy Trails. Where did you get that? I've seen that somewhere before.
As seen on the Papa Pete channel.
Now, if you ever love a flat version of Tempest, is the only way I can is Beam Rider. Activision Beam Rider. I had a good time. This is one I ended up buying at that Radio Shack through the catalog. I bought it brand new years ago. So crazy. And of course, who could forget Pitfall? Does this one have the Lionel store? $27.99. That must have been the original price. But yeah, Pitfall. I had many. I love the drawn-on cover that looks nothing like any version of the game. It's like everything's there. He's like swinging on a vine over the alligators. The scorpions below. There's a bar of gold, a fire, and a snake, and a pit. But that would be a cool one if that was all on the screen at the same time. No, Activision games on Intellivision. Those are. We used to always argue about Pitfall, and it's very hard to tell a difference between the Atari Pitfall and the Intellivision Pitfall, other than you can tell by the sounds. The sounds I thought were a little smoother on Intellivision, I'm going to be honest. And then the score and the top and the trees, you could tell the Intellivision font over the Atari font because the Intellivision had those numbers that were iconic, those blocky looking numbers. But I am going to play this little thing here that I put together. I meant to do more, but this is going to have Pitfall comparison, Atari and Intellivision, as well as River Raid, Atari and Intellivision. Some differences on those. Oh, you see, that's one I don't have, Pete. That's one I don't have yet. I always see it, but it's always too much.
It's quite a bit. It's going up all the time, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I don't know. Unfortunately, it didn't go up all the time.
Either way, if you have it, then that's great.
Yeah.
But here, I'm going to play this right now. So here's some comparisons. Let's do it. Wow, that brings us back.
Yep.
So a lot of people had, like Pete, obviously a huge Pitfall fan. And he's like, of course the 2600 was better. I kind of I don't know. I think they're both good because I played them on both. My cousin had it, and I had it, and I don't know. I understand a lot of people didn't like the Intellivision controllers, but I must say that I kind of liked the Intellivision version. I thought that the audio was a little bit nicer, but you know,
More subtle. It's not as quite as grating as the
I am
audio.
completely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as grating, but I mean, and there's everybody's got their opinion. It's what you're brought up on. I love the game itself, whether it's, you know, on either system. I think it's whatever I could play the game on Atari. I think I've pretty much mastered the disc on Intellivision to go across the alligator heads, and I think that's where that's to me is the hardest to do on either version of the game.
Yep.
But man, I just remember I had such nostalgia of, like, it'd be a nice, this is probably not a good thing, but it'd be a nice hot summer day. You could smell the lawn, you know, people cutting their lawns. You could smell that in the air, you know, just a nice breeze, you know, a nice 80-degree day. And I'm in the living room laying on the floor in front of a television trying to play all the way through Pitfall. Right. As long as people are playing Pitfall, he is happy. But yeah, as far as, Mission X, that was one maybe we need to try to get in there. I thought the River Raid was way better looking on Intellivision, but I do have the nostalgia for the 2600 too. So I don't, like I said, I'm never going to bash at the 2600, but I will a little bit. But I don't know. I guess it's just, I think that it's always your first experience, whatever system you played it on first, you're obviously going to take to that, you know.
Some games just have a magical combination, and Atari River Raid has that perfect combination of everything. It just flows together so well and plays so smoothly that no matter what you do, you could try to make a little bit improved graphics, like the bridges look better, et cetera, on the Intellivision version. But you just can't improve upon that gameplay that they hit it right on the head when Carol Shaw made it for the Atari way back in the day. So,
yeah,
you know, it's.
Yeah, I think, and even though, I mean, I guess the Atari, it's a little more straight, you know, it's a little more, like I said, solid colors instead of like the little trees and the curves in the river. But yeah,
sometimes trying to improve graphics doesn't make things better.
Right. Like how is the control though? And another game, real popular game that was big back in the 80s was a Q*bert. Mm-hmm. And of course, my first thing besides the arcade, that was first, and the Saturday morning cartoon. You remember that? Oh, yeah. Q*bert was like in the 50s going to school. He had like the Letterman jacket. It was kind of funny. Yeah, what a weird way to set that, right? Like
streaming up here on CTV. I actually watched an episode. We had talked about it once before. Nice. Okay, it just popped on and said new. Well, it's like 30 or 40 years old. Bang! So I said, "I'm gonna watch first episode." It's just like, oh yeah, okay.
Coyley's a greaser, like. It was such a weird. What were they trying to like play off of Grease or something?
Q*bert at Rydell High is exactly what it comes across as. Yeah.
It's just so funny. But yeah, Cubert, other than that, like I remember my cousins got it on Atari, so I rushed over to their house and we played I always played Cubert. It was so much fun to see how far you get on Cubert. And I didn't get it for Intellivision until when I lived in California. I rebought it. I got Popeye, which I still have. I had Popeye, I got Frogger, I got Cubert. I never had Frogger other than the Atari 2600. There was actually OEB Pete had a show that I did a video for where he was, I forgot, he did like that late night talk show or whatever, like so many months back. And he was talking about your favorite Atari 2600 game. And I was like, my favorite one, it's pretty close to Spider-Man because I love that one too. But my favorite one was Frogger because I liked that version, even though it didn't have the great color palette or it wasn't as bright and colorful and close to the arcade as the Intellivision one was. It really was. I did like that one better. But I like the Intellivision one. They did a great job. It's one of those things I didn't find it out till later, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, Cubert was huge. Oh, and you ain't kidding. The Pac-Man cartoon, that was one of my favorites. You remember the Pac dog and the Pac cat, and they would keep the cat would keep trying to catch the dog, and it would always go wrong, and the cat would end up getting caught up in the trap that he set for the dog. I thought, oh man, that was so much fun. Oh yeah, also did Happy Trails. Now I wonder where Locomotion came from, because that was Konami. Right? Locomotion was Konami, or was that Happy Trails?
Locomotion was Konami. Happy Trails was more or less independent. It was created by Carol Shaw in Activision. Right. But there's a lot of wishy-washiness about the two when they come out sort of at the same time, and supposedly they were in development at the same time. They bought the license and they were making Happy Trails. They were released almost simultaneously. If Televisionaries podcast have an episode and they put both games in the same episode because of the similarities between the two. And there's pluses and minuses for both of them. And the other neat, most interesting tidbit from that is C-Mart didn't go on that episode because he doesn't like either game. I'm not. I mean, I played those games. They're just sliding tiled games. You know, I guess I could. I really can't get into it. Yeah, I don't blame them. We had Locomotion way back when. I did not play it much. I've got them both here now, but I have not played them much. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked. Look, I mean, there's a lot, and there still is a lot of games that I barely played that I even have in my collection. You know, and but boy, man, I just looking back at the Dreadnought Factory, I kind of want to. I might have to do a video on this. This is such a fun little game. You know, taking out all those little turrets and for the time, I'm surprised I never got this back in the day because, wow, like what a good looking game.
It came out so late though, Chuck.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the reason. Oh, I didn't realize mine has a little tear in the corner. I found this in a game store. It was actually we have a place called Disc Replay. Has like well, they used to have a lot more movies. I don't think they do that much anymore, but it's mostly just all, you know, old games now. And this was sitting in a bargain bin for, I think I paid not even $10 for this. I think it was like under $10 complete. And it's in very good shape. Other than that corner is just a little tore up, but like the whole box is great shape, all complete with everything. And I was like, man, I never played this. And then I played it when I got it at the time, and I thought it was really amazing. Yeah, there's a lot of them. I wish there's a cube. There seems like there's always a Funko Pop of everything. They should do a Running Man or a Shifty Eye Dealer.
Ooh, Shifty Eye Dealer would be good.
Yeah, he would be a good Funko Pop. You know, just like that little pixelated square head of his with his little mustache. Who has a better mustache, John Alvarado or the Shifty Eye Dealer? Think about that for a while.
What if on the Amico version they gave Shifty Eye Dealer the John mustache?
That would be awesome. Maybe he is the Shifty Eye Dealer this whole time. Oh,
it was him all along.
Dreadnought Factory was fantastic. Same guy did Worm Womper. Tell me. Oh, that's right. I don't. That's the one I don't have. The cover of Worm Whopper is hilarious. That is one great looking game. Yeah, Dreadnought is really cool. Yeah. So awesome. The farm, that iconic picture. What was the whole deal with Worm Whopper? Because I don't think I know I've never played it straight out.
Basically, your corn's being attacked by insects, and you got to stave them off.
Okay. You have like one of those big bug spray pump pumps that shoots. Yeah.
Kind of like that, yeah. It's another one that I got very late and have played I haven't had it. I bet you I haven't had that game for a year and a half. I got a really good deal with it on eBay one day, and that's when I picked it up, but I haven't played it much.
Another one really right up there with River Raid. They're asking $200-$300 sometimes for those. Yeah. DDT, baby.
Yeah.
It's funny, Pete. I was up at the cabin last weekend up in northern Michigan. Everybody said it's funny because Mike from Next Level is like, you were up in the woods, in the Detroit woods? I'm like, no, north of the city is all forests. But anyways, it's funny. But when I go up there, the bugs attack me all the time. Like it don't matter what. No one else can be getting eaten, but the mosquitoes are just they'll go right for me. I don't know if it's the high blood pressure or whatever it is, but they love my blood. And so I always have a good can of Deep Woods Off or whatever. But my buddy goes, well, I got the one that's this is good on the skin. It's got the all natural. I was like, no, dude, I need the DEET. Give me the stuff with all the chemical. I want the DEET. So when I saw the DDT, it's a reminder. So I was like, he's like, well, this one says it's 20% DEET. I'm like, this one's 70% DEET. It's going to eat my skin. I don't care. I'm spraying it all over and rubbing it on my face because I cannot stand mosquito bites the next morning. Worm Whopper ramps up big time. A lot of moving sprites and background tiles. Yeah, I really kind of want to get into that. That's what I want to get to. That and River Raid is what I need to collect or to complete my the Activision collection, and I really need to just try to work on getting those because they're only going to go up. They should make Donkey Kong 8 Funko purposely because it looks like nothing like it. Now, see, I always thought it had a green tint to it, so I always called him the Green Ape. He might have had a poopy greenish brown look, but it looked more green on my TV growing up. So I always called him the Green Ape. And my cousins would well, at least Atari, even though it's blocky, is brown. It's you guys have a Green Ape for your Donkey Kong. I'm like, hey, let's just agree they're both terrible and Coleco screwed us, okay? No, I didn't know that back then. I'm changing my channel name to Pete's Retro Gaming Fun because no one knows what an OEB is. And no one knows what an OEB is. Well, you do open a lot of boxes. They should know that by now. Yeah, he did look green. I don't know. Some people thought he looked brown. I always thought that. I was like, why is the ape green? Is he looked like a Moss Man or a Loch Ness Monster or Swamp Thing throwing barrels. But if you, when he stood there too, it looked like when because he has his arms like this before he throws the barrel. If you pause it where he's like this, it almost looks like it's a smile with buck teeth, two eyes. So he's like this giant just mouth. Another way you could look. Yeah, when you eat a lot of spinach. Yeah, exactly. He must have went over to the Popeye game. I believe in the whole Wreck-It Ralph thing. They visit each other's games. I'm kidding. But yeah, no, there's a lot I want to get for that. I think Atari, you know what? There probably wouldn't have been an Intellivision without an Atari. So, I mean, obviously, they were Mattel was like, we want to just make something to completely compete with this monster of a system. So I guess I could be thankful for a lot of the games I grew up playing, but I do think Intellivision really had a way bigger place in my heart just because I think I was more interactive with my family, to be honest. I would go Creature from the Black Lagoon, that's for Lance. Oh, is that from the movie stuff? I'm still trying to figure out that movie. That it was a sci-fi movie where they were fighting this alien on a ship, and I know I talked about it in your chat and when you guys do the movie stuff. It was this big slimy brown gross looking alien, and they're chasing it all around the ship, and they let it out of the airlock at the end, and they're like, finally, we got rid of him. And it backs off, and you see the spaceship flying through space, and the alien's like floating like behind them, like he's trying to catch up to him, and like he's floating right behind him still. Like it didn't kill him.
What time period is that, Chuck?
It was 80s when I saw it, so it had to have been early 80s. That's all I can say is early 80s, maybe even late 70s. There was like this creature, and I'll never forget, it was like this big, brown, scary-looking alien monster, more of a monster than an alien, I mean, but and they thought letting him out of the airlock, he'd be done. He was just right behind the spaceship, just following them at the end when it backed off. So I can't remember if it was like a TV show. I thought it was a movie like on cable or something, because I think we had just gotten cable TV. Man, it's like so crazy.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
My best friend from childhood had the 2600, had the NT. Ironically, he was at the Boomers in Irvine, got to play the Amico last week and loved it. You know, that's a great a point right there. It's like, I don't think anyone's went up and someone that's actually went up and played the Intellivision Amigo has not come back and went, boy, that is the most awful. Oh, that's worst. I'm like, everybody loves it because but you got to be in the mindset. It is a simple retro throwback, pick up and play, you know, nothing crazy about the graphics machine. If you're going to up there and going, this graphics suck, then that's probably not for you. The Atari VCS 2600 was initially a failure. Yeah, I was, you know who I was watching is John the Retro Bro has this, he was doing a teaser on this, this show he's doing. He's going to start up, it was Gaming Through the Decades or something like that. And he was talking about that, and it was, I saw some of that it originally failed right off the bat, like, and then they kind of brought in a new dude to do it, and then Space Invaders hit, and they couldn't make enough consoles. Exactly. Hey, what's happening? What is happening? Yeah.
Hey, Michael.
It's just crazy how things fall in place and make other things happen. And like I said, sometimes there wouldn't have been any of these consoles. We wouldn't even have consoles if it wasn't probably for Atari. Not to keep going back to them, but I think that a television game, a good run for their money, took a little chunk of their market right before everything crashed anyways in a couple of years, you know. But yeah, a lot of these games, I think, and I don't know if it's back in the day, like the Pac-Man thing made no sense. Like why it came up with such a terrible version, and then Intellivision had such a great version. And then the same thing with and like I said, this could also be if Atari Soft or people see. I don't know who designed stuff like Defender for Intellivision. You know, it says Atari Soft. So are they kind of trying to make it not as good? Was that? You know, I always wonder about that. You know. Because after hearing about the whole Coleco thing back way after the fact, you know, did they try to make Centipede not as good as the 26, you know, 100? Like I don't know.
Like a weird strategy.
It's like you're still gonna make money, you know, like because you're still selling those, but like, you know that originally talk about some tab facts when Crystal Pepsi came out.
Some tab facts.
And I'll give you some tab facts. When Crystal Pepsi came out, Coca-Cola was like, oh man, they're starting to kind of get us in this. He's like, how can we make people think that the Crystal Pepsi is the worst thing ever put up? And he loved for the Vectrex. I never had one. I always wanted to get one. They always looked really cool. Odyssey 1 or 2?
Never had it.
I did have it in a bunch of games. That were later stolen from me, but I never really played it. I was kind of collecting games. I was collecting systems back like in the 90s. And it was all these old systems were like $20. People just want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
It was awesome back then.
Like no one really thought, like most of the time we didn't think toys, games, or anything like that would be worth anything now. Now it's like, now people know it. And it's like, and I'll go back to the tab story in a second, but like it's funny now is like now you go on a rummage sale site or a Craigslist or an eBay or even like the Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that. And people have lots of games. Email me for prices. That's how you know they're just checking the internet for prices. Like it used to be, here's a box for $20, trying to get rid of it. When now people realize that games have a value, so it's getting harder and harder to find that flea market because even at the flea market, I went up and the guy had like a table, a table full of games, and he had a big shoebox full of NES. I was like, what do you want? Nothing's priced, and I go, what do you want for the box? He goes, hold on, I'd have to look them up individually. And he was on his phone. I'm like, you know what? Never mind. I could go on eBay too and pay for those prices. I was going to, give him $30 for the box or something, and take that box home. So I think it's going to be to the point where it's going to be very hard because everybody knows that eventually one of these is going to be worth a lot of money, no matter what it is. And I think people are starting to have that mindset. A number of Blue Sky Rangers left Mattel for Atari. Those programmers promised credit and royalties for new Intellivision games under the Atari Soft banner.
There were a lot of games that were scheduled that didn't come out.
Yeah.
They had actually had some different stages of work on them, including Dig Dug, which never ended up, which is the only one that really saw the light of day later on for Intellivision Inc.
What a cool box, too.
Actually. Yeah.
I really love just everything about this box is just fun.
Yeah.
I think that's the first. I guess that's not really a screenshot. Maybe it is. I mean, it looks really close to it. It looks almost perfect to the game.
Yeah.
But no, going back to companies that'll sometimes maybe they will put out something just to stifle something else is so Coke's like, man, Crystal Pepsi, like right when it came out, people were like, oh man, let's rush to the store and get it. It was starting to sell, right? He goes, what do we have in our arsenal? And they're like, well, sir, we still have Tab. No one really likes Tab anymore. Even then they were saying that. This was in the 80s, right? Or early 90s, whatever. And he goes, why don't we put out Tab Clear? Make it taste disgusting. Just put it out whatever we want to make it. We'll just take the caramel color out of the Tab. And that's going to be disgusting. And because that gives it flavor too. And they did it. And they put out Tab Clear and put out commercials about how it's a diet, because they were like, Crystal Pepsi's not a diet drink. And they were like, Tab, they'll think it's, they'll think it's the same thing, and they marketed it and put it right next to Crystal Pepsi, and it hurt their sales. And as soon as Crystal Pepsi's sales went down and they were like, we're done, then they pulled Tab Clear as well. The only reason they released the beverage was to make Crystal Pepsi bad. So people thought they would get confused and buy this and go, oh, that clear stuff's just for diets. Oh, it's disgusting. They did a whole thing on it. I saw, I think it was on Netflix. There was a documentary or something. I can't remember where I watched it. And I was like, oh my God, that's so great. Like Coke's just like, what do we have in our, what weird pie? Oh yeah, we still got making that Tab. Let's put out a Tab Clear and make it disgusting. Not to sell. The whole purpose was to not sell any, just to make it bad so that no one would buy Pepsi. So there is companies that are willing to put out a product just to crush someone else. It's unbelievable. I have the light pen and the original controller. I used to have the 3G Imager too. Oh, you're talking about the I don't know what you're talking about. I guess I should have looked up a little bit more. For Odyssey, maybe? Oh, Vectrex, probably.
No, for the Odyssey, I think.
Was it for Odyssey? Okay.
I think so.
Joust was in development by Atari Soft. Oh, that would have been, talk about a cool two-player game. I always wanted an arcade Joust. Joust
and Jungle Hunt was a big one.
Crystal Pepsi right now. Yep, Van Halen. I actually liked Crystal Pepsi. I thought it tasted cool. It tasted different. It kind of tasted like cola. It was just the whole thing. Your mind plays tricks on you when you see the clear. You think it's supposed to be, and all it was cola. It was still a cola, and it wasn't diet. They just took the brown color out, and people freaked out over it. It was kind of weird. Vectrex light pen. Okay.
Oh, Vectrex.
Vectrex accessories. Okay. Yeah. See, I always thought the Vectrex was cool. I mean, it had its own CRT monitor. Well, I should say vector monitor, not the whole thing of it. What the hell is going on in here? What's up, dude?
Chris.
Who knows? We don't know. Just a few guys talking about Intellivision
Television.
and Vectrex and Atari and a bunch of other stuff.
I still wish I had a Vectrex. I wanted a Vectrex.
What did they have? They had literally their own games. They didn't have anything like Tempest or like arcade games on there. Was it just their own?
It would be sort of knockoffs, but they had similar style, like Mindstorm, I think, which was on the wasn't that the one that came with it? Mindstorm was like an Asteroids knockoff, and
I never even heard of Vectrex until several years ago. Like I completely missed it. I didn't even see it. I don't know why, but then when I saw it, I was like, I would have loved this because Asteroids is my favorite arcade game growing up. I love the vector graphics. So
yeah, like the black and white vector. Yeah, I always wanted an Asteroids arcade cabinet too, but I can never find one that's like. In those vector monitors, like I have a Tempest. If this breaks, like, they're so expensive.
Oh, really?
And trying to find them.
Did you ever
reminded me of the Dreamcast port of Half-Life. It ran better than the PS2 version, so the Dreamcast port was brought up just to not be released. Yeah, people do that, Scramble was so they did have the Scramble then. Okay. Dark Tower was an original game. Fortress of Nozad was good too. Web Wars, Hyper Chase, a few other ones. Hey, what's happened? I think that's Brother Mike.
That is Brother Mike.
The major loss of not having legit arcade vector games. Yeah. I mean, think of there was a lot of ones. There was a lot back in the day in the arcades.
Star Wars arcade, man, is one of my favorites.
Yeah, the Star Wars, exactly.
Yeah, I love that game. And nothing they do is ever quite the same as what that was, right?
And then remember they had Journey. Wasn't Journey a vector game as well? I thought it was. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not sure.
Berserk was on the Vectrex, but pretty buggy. Berserk is such a great looking game. I mean, I'm in the arcade. I used to think that was just the epitome of the sound of like the sound of hearing the Berserk in an arcade. Oh, Journey wasn't a vector. Okay. I'm trying to think. What was it? I know there was not Space Wars. Oh my goodness! I have to touch up my knowledge of vector game arcade games.
You ever play Black Widow?
There you go, perfect example. Black Widow. Yeah, that
game is so much fun.
Yeah, I had because they had that. That was an Atari stand-up. I always wanted. There was people that did conversions in. I forgot what cabinet. I don't know if it was the System 1 cabinet. Or if it was I'm trying to think of the other game that's like Black Widow. I mean, there was Tempest, but there was Black Widow, and there was another one. Clean Sweep was the obligatory Pac-Man knockoff title. Clean Sweep. You know what's weird is like I was looking to get a couple arcades, and sometimes I see them. There's that. Do you remember a game called Crush Roller?
Mm-mm.
And it also went by two other names. It was you painted like these roads and you had to paint everything. And then, God, and there was another name for it. It also went by, Make Tracks was another one. Because the little cats or something would put little footprints on and you'd have to paint over them again. And it was, but it was under Make Tracks I think it was a Midway game. Thank you. Yes, Mike. Star Castle. And a lot of them did conversions to Black Widow. But yeah, I think those like Star Castle, Black Widow, and Tempest were one of the top three vectors. Excuse me. The vector or the Tempest is like a very sought after game. And I just happened to find it for $300.
Oh wow!
And they go for about 2,800 and up. So I just happened to find it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll pay that. I'm gonna get that right now. I'm gonna get it in my truck. Bye. Here's the money." But I mean, I did have to have it fixed, but everything was working. It was just a couple, I don't know, but it was just a couple pieces or parts they needed to fix on it and some wiring. And it fired up, so I was really stoked on that. Yes, Crush Roller, Make Tracks, played it on Neo Geo Pocket Color.
I didn't know that was on Neo Geo Pocket Color.
Star Castle was a Vectrex style game, shielded center. You had to shoot all the spinning walls. Yes.
that what that is?
Yeah, that's the Neo Geo Pocket Color.
Cool.
Well, then you'll have Crush Roller on there. Or Make Tracks. Another name was Brush Roller. Another fantastic vector game was Quantum. Star Castle was on Vectrix as well. Very, very nice.
I'm sitting here watching a video of Crush Roller, the arcade game. This game looks like a lot of fun.
It's not bad. I know. I don't know if I'd buy it as a stand-up arcade, but I definitely play it on an emulator or like on a on a collection. There was a sit-down Star Trek game in a Vectrex style also. Yeah, that's the one Pete's talking about. Oh, no. I'm sorry. This is Star Trek, not Star Wars.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yes, yeah. There was. I think you had to take your ship into like and then fight aliens or go to different. It was kind of a weird setup, and I remember they had like a box on top that you had to enter or something, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, good. Thanks for reminding me. Actually, I do need to bring this in for the fall to try to finish it. I have the parts. I did plug in the new Raspberry Pi, and it does work. My main thing is getting the speakers hooked up, so I bought a sound card that's supposed to plug into the Pi, but which is weird because that's like right over the fan, so I don't know if I have to move the fan or kind of modify it. I don't know. I don't want it to overheat or anything. And then I got to get, I got to run the wiring for them to do that. But yeah, other than that, I kind of can't wait to get this downstairs. Hopefully before I'm going to have a Halloween party, like to kick off the season. Star Trek Ship Simulator. I knew it had something to do with like the ship and you had to enter. Like, yeah, it's so. I saw it on that. Remember that game show they had that was where people played arcades and they won money, and whoever got the top score. Starcade. Remember Starcade?
Wow, that's a blast of the past.
Yeah, and that's where I saw. That's probably like the first time I saw Star Trek Vector because I was rewatching. They have them on YouTube. There's a site that shows all of them, and I was just watching one after the other, and I was like, wow, there's a bunch of these games I didn't know existed. Vectrex had a Star Trek game too, but it's super rare. Oh, they got DVDs. Oh, I wouldn't mind getting that. Getting a set of that. Some. Ooh, Amazon, here I come after the show. Yeah, Starcade was an amazing show. I had always had fun while watching that. When I found that, I was like, oh, I'm gonna keep watching that. They had people playing Donkey Kong, people playing Pac-Man. They had people playing but they had a lot of those vector games, the obscure games. Remember the one called Eyes? It was like eyeballs. And it was like I think it was like a maze style game, really weird. And they had showcased that, I think it was like 3 different games they'd showcase, and at the end someone would do head to head and see who got the most. But yeah, it was such a fun little show.
You know who the first host was?
The what?
The first host on the pilot of Star. It was Mike Ruzioni, hockey player.
Oh, really?
And then it went to some other guy, and then it finally ended up with Jeff Edwards, who was, I think, did the bulk of them.
There's something about one of the hosts, and I don't know if it was the very last host or whatever. I think he didn't like video games, never played them, didn't know anything about them, but he did I guess they said he did a great job hosting, but you never would have known. Like he had no clue about video games, nor did he care. I was like, oh man, you don't want to get someone like that, but apparently he did a good job. So yeah, Eyes. Pac-Man style game, you shot gems and opposing eyes that shot back. It was such a weird one. Been a while since I watched joysticks as well. Yeah, there's a lot of cool things you can pull up. Like that's the good thing about the internet. You can find some old nostalgic stuff and which is kind of saved and you can look at and watch. There's also some bad stuff on the internet, which we all know, but Video Power, I don't think I've ever seen 1990, a video game show. I'll make sure to not look that up since it's so crummy. Well, anyways, we're at the hour mark. I think we will call it, and we will see you next Monday. And I'm also, just to let everybody know, I got some more content I'm working on. I am also thinking about, and we'll see what happens this Wednesday. I am going to do an Amico stream on Wednesday. I'm not sure about the timing yet. I'll kind of let you guys know on the channel. Plus, I'll pull, you'll see the thumbnail up. But so the timing, I'm not sure. It'll probably be a later show, I'm guessing. But I'm going to call it Amico Forever. Since there's none out there right now, I figured I would put some positive out in the universe.
Right on.
Pete, you have something that you want to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow night, after a long, drawn-out summer, I finally got another episode of the 125 finished up, and it's premiering tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific on my channel. And the featured game is auto racing, as promised. But even kind of neater afterwards, I've been doing these on Tuesday nights, doing the premieres, because we have it's our normal live stream night, and we're having a post-premiere live stream. Jeff will be joining me, and we're also going to have some special guests. And we have a special announcement from a couple different people, and during the 125 itself, there's a special announcement. But joining me tomorrow will be the Intellivision collector himself, Mr. Luke Boudreau, as well as all the way from Thailand, William Muller from Electronite. So it's going to be like early in the morning for him.
That's a superstar, super show.
They are going to be joining us tomorrow night at, again, it's 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock PPT. That'd be Papa Pete time. So I hope to see as many of there as possible. Bring your questions. I know that there's going to be a few things to show you. William's bringing, and other announcements to be made, and we'll just talk a lot of Intellivision OG, as I like to call it.
Yeah, that is some Intellivision knowledge in that show. Yeah, wow. Exactly. That is make sure everybody tunes into that. That's going to be insane.
Trivia himself, Luke, who I haven't seen here tonight.
No, Luke's not in here tonight.
But I was thinking earlier when you showed something, here's a little bit of trivia. It's not going to be up to Luke's caliber, but I got one tiny bit of trivia for you. How many different variations of the Dig Dug box are there for the Intellivision OG?
Of just the box, not the game?
Just the box.
Yes, it was. Auto racing was featured in Knight Rider, and I didn't even and I watched all the Knight Rider. I think I have the set DVD up there. I didn't remember it until Tommy had posted it, because I said something about, I forgot I said this was like a year ago. I said something on a Facebook group or something about auto racing, and he shows me the thing of Michael Knight going like this, but he's using an Atari joystick. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to take away from that.
It's all right. I think somebody's got an answer already. Put mics up there. For one or two
players.
So I'm trying to think. Okay. What's your box say?
Dude, that is a sticker over that. That yellow is a sticker that says for one player, but if you could peel that right off, so I don't know what it said underneath.
The three variations are, they originally printed the box and it said for 1 or 2 players, but it's a 1-player game.
Yeah.
They used
but you can alternate with 2 players though, right?
I don't think so.
Literally just one then.
They used up the rest of the stock of the boxes, corrected it by putting the sticker over top of it for 1 player only. And then there's also versions of it that say for 1 player, printed right on the box, where they corrected the box itself.
So 3 different ones.
There's your 3 different versions, all depending on
what's the rarest version.
You know, the thing is I really don't know which one's the rarest. I've heard that question asked before too, and they all sort of seem to pop up about the same, it seems. I would think the 1 or 2 would be the rarest. I know that I have 2 copies.
Yeah.
And I have the sticker, and I have the regular printed 1 player. Huh. So I would think it's the for 1 or 2 player without the sticker is the rarest.
Kind of like Buzz Bombers.
Take the sticker, but
did Buzz Bombers have that same thing?
I don't remember that about Buzz Bombers specifically.
Neither do I. Because Buzz Bombers definitely was a 1 player.
On the back it says 1 or 2 could play on my copy right here.
Oh my God, this is funny. Because I know this wasn't done by me or someone that owned this. I'm wondering if at the factory they literally did this because it's an INTV release.
Yeah.
The 1 or 2 players has a marker
they just scribbled
over it.
That may
were they sitting there going like this?
Yeah.
Otherwise, who the blazes else would take a marker to that box?
Like no one would cover up 1 or 2 players on their own. Like I wouldn't. I just leave whatever it said. That is too funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, there Michael Hayes has said everyone was done by hand with the magic marker.
The blurb on the Blue Sky Rangers website about marking it out with every copy by hand. So that's a Blue Sky Rangers
There you go.
INTV Productions. Look at that. That's kind of cool. That's what I said. I said, who in their right mind would do that? Does yours have that, Pete?
There's the INTV copy there, because here's the Mattel one, right? I got the Mattel.
I got the Mattel one, but it's got that.
INTV, and you can see the 1 or 2 players on both of them.
Oh,
nothing's marked out.
They let it escape.
Yeah.
That is cool.
So we had to get a little trivia in there on behalf of Luke.
Well, man, that's going to be a superstar show. Please tune into that. That's tomorrow night, right?
Tomorrow night. Start off. I'm going to be at the premiere. And then the live stream will kick in right as soon as the premiere of the 125 on auto racing is over.
That is, I cannot wait to see that.
Right on.
Well, thank you, Jeff from Go Game Go. Thank you, Papa Pete. And that is an awesome shirt, by the way, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't know where I got it.
Pete'll get his in about 2 more weeks.
I'll have to figure that out and get one for myself, right?
They're available nowhere, but somehow I think there's some on your way to your house.
Thrift store in Canada. I don't know.
By the way, Wednesday, Peter is joining me and Stuart.
Yep, that's
and
right.
Also Lance and JD, who are in the chat, are joining us for our Candy Wars episode. We're going to battle it out with the top 32 candies. We're going to see who comes out victorious. We're going to vote on each. We're going to have a 32 bracket set up.
Ooh.
And we'll vote for each candy until we get to the winner.
Man, there's so many good candies.
It's going to be awesome.
Oh, I love. Who doesn't love candy?
It's going to be sweet.
Yes, it is.
I see what you did there. Whoops, this way.
And a little nutty.
And a little nutty.
Whoa.
Hey, will Coco be there?
The basket is empty.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know where she is.
Yeah, as I say, usually she's right there with you. Well, we will see you next Monday. Well, you'll see these guys before that, but you'll see me next Monday. Or Wednesday on the Amico stream. Forgot about that.
Right on. Take care, guys.
Take care.